Like an Earthkeeper here from the Quantum Realm Institute Yoga and Mystery School. This is our show, Conscious Conversations, where we have different guests come on and we talk about random subjects that we don't even know we're going to talk. We pull the subject from what I call the Holy Grail. So it's random and it flows organically. So thank you for tuning in. And we have special guest today with us, Thomas.
Namaste.
Hi, Thomas.
Hello.
I would love it if you would do the honors and pick the topic that we're going to talk about.
Let's see. All right. The crown chakra.
Oh, are you down for this one?
Yeah.
I'm down.
Let's do it.
All right. Okay, so would you like to start?
Sure. So, the crown chakra is the seventh of the base chakras. I guess let's go back a little bit further. Chakra is an energetic disc throughout the body, first starting with the root, going up into the sacral, then the solar plexus, then the heart, the throat, the brow or third eye, and then the crown, which is what we're going to be focusing on today. There's so many ways to go.
Yeah. So chakra is the Sanskrit word meaning wheel. It's a spinning wheel of energy. And most of them flow outward, front and back of body. But the crown flows up and down. Yeah. It's located at the top of the head.
Considered the consciousness chakra, or the Godhead. Everything kind of flows outwards and together, and as you said, the Godhead tends to kind of burst up and out into
like a fountainhead.
Yes, all consciousness, all beingness. It is a very, very high vibrational light energy. Taking on the hue or color, often represented as a purple, like a violet purple.
Or even bright white too.
Yeah, bright white. Representing the clean, like clean,
crystalline,
clearing. Yes. Wow.
Vibrates at the highest when you're talking about those seven major. The root vibrates at the lowest, slowest, and then the crown is very high, vibrating high and fast.
I guess to go back into the Sanskrit, which Sanskrit is where the chakras are throughout multiple cultures. There's different cultures that focus on chakras in the study of chakras, or balancing, attuning, and using the light energy, which chakras are tied to your. Well, chakras. So to focus on one is
hard.
Yeah, to not go from the beginning. Yeah, we chose the seventh chakra, and there,
divinity at play, right? Like.
So go ahead if you.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, we could talk about maybe some of the techniques to keep this energy center healthy and vibrant and flowing. Meditation would be one of the biggest, right? Yes, tools for people to do. Prayer can be very good too. Chanting.
Which most can be done in a meditative state. Chanting, prayer. Because the crown chakra really is centered around all beingness in the coming in touch with the divine.
Mm-hmm. That's our connection. Yes. I feel like.
Yes. See the brow chakra, right beneath the crown chakra. So the crown chakra is actually centered right above the crown of the head.
Yeah, kind of like where
Oh,
the soft spot is.
yes. And the chakra right below that, which is the third eyebrow, pineal, uh, starts to kind of tip you in that direction of all the divinity. It starts to bring in that intuition and intuitive, heavy impact, which then translates into coming up through the divine that you always are of that crown chakra. Um, to help attune it, a technique I'd like to use is chanting, but more of like a mantra chanting, which isn't necessarily always done in meditation or in sitting silence or in anything like that. I've honestly throughout the day working, um, especially when starting to feel a little bit wound up with the stresses of the day, acknowledging that stress and then kind of going into the mantra of I am divine, I'm connected to all things. The divinity flows through me. There's there's so many routes you can go with different mantras, and it's really finding what suits you best. Um, in the lines of the vibrational field that chakra is trying to, well, not trying, just is based around. Oftentimes, starting with something that's going to be relatively easy for you to remember as a go-to. Um,
Breath work could be
yes.
helpful too. And when you were talking about the third eye, I was thinking about how this is kind of like a gateway. And this begins, you start to open your eyes, literally. You begin to open your mind, right? To be open to those things. Because I think when we have not as vibrant of a flow flowing through the crown chakra, that's where we see rigid beliefs, rigidity. So the ability to open up the mind, because divinity is all that is. We think we're so complex and diverse, right? As human beings, but you put all of us together, how big is that? So you really have to open your mind to be able to wrap it around the concept of divinity,
Yeah, the crown chakra really is that base of recognition that all is you and you are all through an experiential standpoint, not just an intellectual, psychological thought. The the sorry, physiology in it, through the body, through really all that is. It's simply difficult to put into words because it's beyond words. But the crown chakra is the, I guess, platform that opens all of that up, through tuning the chakras, which is part of why it's vital to develop some type of spiritual practice about you, such as meditation, or whether it be walking meditation or breath work, or because when you start to awaken these deep energies and these deep centers, it can be very, very overwhelming, and it will start to kind of break away from the mind simply because the mind isn't all that is. It's just a part or of the being, but to be beyond the mind is really where that crown chakra rests. So you were touching on some of the blocks per se. So to bring it down to a physiological level, any given chakra can start to affect your emotional body, your physical body, your ethereal body, your astral body, all of the different bodies. Um, and a sense of if a crown chakra becomes blocked, you start to feel disconnected from the divine.
Yes.
There,
Disconnected from everything. Separation. The illusion of separation is really strong. That's not.
a heavy sense of apathy. Feeling lost, feeling singled out as if very isolated. You're very isolated, which is a sign of, on a deeper level, you're feeling that disconnect from the divine or from all that is, from regular human contact.
Yeah.
Natural contact, animalistic contact, because again, all of that is a part of you.
Nature too, being disconnected from nature.
Yeah. And some of it is a rigidity in beliefs and social conditioning. We oftentimes look out at nature as something separate from ourselves. We oftentimes, we're in the woods and we're looking at the woods as nature and our beautiful surroundings and forget, well, I'm natural too. I'm nature. I mean, when you look at it, like what is this body? Well, what is this body? Not just an accumulation from the earth itself. I mean, when we leave the body, what happens to the body? The body will decompose right back into the very earth. There's nothing in this body that isn't in our earth. That's part of the cycle of things.
Yeah, we are a microbiome or something of bacteria and fungus and viruses. And someone I just listened to, Dr. Zach Bush, he did like a little talk the other day, and he was talking about only 10% of us really is human. Like we are nature.
Yes, in so many ways. So the crown chakra is the cosmic chakra. And when we look at the saying, we're just stardust playing around. In that sense, on a physical level, we need to look at what is the earth, what helped create the earth. The earth itself was created from multiple collisions, bangs, from the explosion, and all of it tended to center and gather here, and then we came from that very being. So the same minerals that are found in a star are also found here. So what actually disconnects the physical body from that came of the earth from the star that the earth also has came from? When you start to look into that aspect, where is the disconnect actually at? What disconnects that physicalness? Is it the thought of the mind being something separate from everything else? Like when looking at the intellect or ego or mind, the mind oftentimes likes to look at everything as something away from itself, as something separate from itself. And the crown chakra and nurturing the crown chakra is a very great way to start to bridge that gap, to start to understand that the mind sees itself as that, but that it is actually nothing separate of any of that.
Yeah, once you're tapped into your crown chakra, you're tapped into that unity consciousness. Once you're tapped into the unity consciousness, and you see everything as the same, like we're all the same, it's unified, then you can start to see these things outside of yourself as like things that are within you. So like when we see someone getting upset, or can't hold space for us, it's usually, okay, now I need to turn this in and see what parts of myself are not holding space for myself, or, using these external things to help be our teachers, because I feel like that's a lot of the work we came here to do, is to improve the self or self-discovery. How can we refine and cultivate us as a soul, you know, um, but yeah, I just feel like, and then I think also too, another blocker, something that can block this flow, is the overthinking and overanalyzing that we do.
Yes, very much so. So let's look into ways that we can very easily feed our crown chakra.
Ooh, the pituitary gland and the pineal gland. I know that they usually say the pineal gland is more third eye, but it's really located like in the center of the head, and I think the pituitary gland is like located in the back or something. But those two glands together, I think, would affect the crown.
Yes. Yes, and playing together.
And they say our pineal gland is like an antenna system. So when we give, like, there's an exercise that we do to bring the cerebral spinal fluid up through the chakras to the pineal gland. And when we do that, the pineal gland actually ejaculates this like nectar of immortality, some of the gurus call it, into our brain. So and then also can act as like antenna to like, it's like that connection to where we can get downloads, we can get new information, new insights, epiphanies, knowings, where something comes over and you're just like, oh, I know that in my bones, that's truth. Yes. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
So it's kind of like we're tuning in.
That's the antenna.
Yeah.
It's so on even the most base of levels, simply the food
Oh yeah.
that you eat can greatly affect any chakra. A lot of our blockages tend to come from the food that we eat.
Mm-hmm.
Just the
water we drink.
Yeah.
Super important for the crown, the mind, the brain, those glands. Having good water, clean water. Don't drink water from your tap for the crown. Like Fiji water is really, really good. It has extra minerals in it and everything. Walnuts are good for the brain. Nuts, period, are good. Berries are really good.
Particular when going into the chakras, berries of the same color of the chakra that may be focused on or being worked on is great in helping.
Mm-hmm.
For the crown chakra, you would want to eat things such as grapes, eggplant, which is beneficial to both the crown and the third eye or brow. So like just about anything that you can think of purple wise, it's the physical makeup of that color is simply vibrating at the same frequency needed to replicate that color through light.
Yeah, blackberries, raspberries are good. Our brain is like 80% water, so like people don't drink. I mean, more and more you're seeing more and more people hydrating. Taking their flasks everywhere, and I mean, at least we see it here. But drinking water and staying hydrated is so important for the brain alone.
Yes. Yes, I mean we are made up of what are the physical body's like somewhere around 70% of water.
Yeah.
So, I mean, water is really the only thing that we can drink that's healthy for us and designed for our physical body to actually take in without adding something else that the body has to filter. The body don't necessarily have to filter water if it's good, natural water. If it don't, now obviously if it's contaminated or the body's going to filter what it needs to filter. But this body was designed specifically to consume waters. I mean, water is vital to life for that reason. It's we weren't designed to, or this body wasn't designed to take on a lot of the things that we eat, drink. I mean, we are drinking and eating things that replicate food that aren't even actual food, aren't even actual drink, you know? When you look at the proprietary ingredients of a soda, the
Chemicals.
yes, high fructose corn syrup, sugar corn.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the proprietary ingredient in a soda. It might, you know, and obviously water, but how much of it's actually water versus the syrup? Um, like I mean, when I was a young teenager, I worked in fast food, and I know anybody that has worked in fast food or worked at a gas station or anything that's had to deal with a fountain pop. What you hook up in that machine is literally a box of syrup. Like you pull the bag out and it's just real thick syrup. And it mixes with a little bit of water as it goes to the machine, and that's what comes out of your fountain. So a good 80% of what you're drinking when you drink a soda or anything, if you look at the label of anything and it says high fructose corn syrup on it as your proprietary, and understand the proprietary ingredients of just about anything you can read ingredients on are going to be your first 3 to 4 ingredients on there. Oftentimes, if you look at actual ingredients, you'll see like contains less than 2% of this or that. Those aren't proprietary. Those are in there as part of the makeup. Just like the physical body, you know, what got us into this was talking about how much water. So the proprietary ingredient for a human body is water. 70% of its makeup. So when you flip that onto the foods and things that we're consuming, you're looking at a soda being 70 to 80% of a thick, not very natural nor healthy for you syrup. Under the high fructose corn syrup comes from corn. Now, all of us that have ate corn know that corn isn't a syrup, so processing had to happen for that to be there. So it's a very highly processed food.
Right.
It's processed foods block any chakra, the flow of vitality itself.
We need foods with prana, with life force in them. You know, even like cereals and pretzels and stuff, they have no life force.
And here we are taught that you know, that eat your Wheaties for breakfast. You know, you eat your cereal, you eat your things for breakfast.
Your Pop-Tarts, your sugar that feeds cancer. Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things I was thinking about the crown chakra is the Rastafarians. If you've ever heard of them, they, you know, what they're known for is smoke and weed, right? But they actually believe that you know, marijuana came from the earth. They're very connected with the earth, and they would believe that they would use this to raise their consciousness and connect with the higher realms. And they believed even their hair, that's why they had the dreads and stuff, they believed their hair was like extensions or antenna that would increase that connection to where they would get that. It was all about the consciousness, all about, you know, getting that higher consciousness. And I can get behind them. I totally support Rastafarians. If I were to choose one thing, whatever. But anyways, the whole point of this was your hair, you know, and having the hair. But then also I just listened to a girl the other day. She was talking about washing your hair, because this energy here can cause a lot of overthinking, overwhelm. But when you're washing it, you're kind of cleansing that area. And you're not just washing your hair, but you're cleansing your crown chakra. You're letting the water wash over it, and you're clearing out the energy to keep that, you know, so it's not cloudy and full of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to share that little tidbit for the crowd. Like, and when you're washing your hair, you can envision like with the water in the shower or something, like just cleansing that chakra. And intention is powerful. So if you bring the intention in with it too, I think would really be beneficial.
Intention backing any of it, any of the things that that we've even already mentioned. The pardon me. The the chanting, the meditations. When meditating on a chakra, you want to bring that chakra into your full focus. So as a breathing technique, to sit and allow yourself to center and bring attention to the breath to clear the space for the chakra meditation that you may be about to do. Going into a visualizing meditation oftentimes can help tremendously with chakras, visualizing the color. Um, so to start by bringing attention to the breath in a very mindful sense and just clearing the space and allowing yourself, if you're say you want to meditate for 20 minutes on the chakra, set a timer throughout it and allow the first 5 minutes of the meditation to bring attention to the breath in a mindful sense, simply to clear that space, so that when you hear whatever tone that is that your alarm's set to, you instantly, through that still clear space, can go right into a visualization of the color. You know, of the if you're going on the crown, start to visualize a deep sense of the brightest, most brilliant violet light that you've seen, or white light. Visualize white light kind of showering out of the crown of your head.
I like to envision like crystal, sparkly, like crystalline energy, like white, bright white with little bits of gold or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then to chant, it's om. That's actually the sound of the crown chakra. So I mean, we hear it in all types of different things. A fun fact that I just came across not too long ago was the influence of Om in the Christian religion, or the Catholic branch to be specific, with how they chant Amen or Amen after giving prayer or anything is in a traditional Catholic sense. They don't just end a prayer with Amen or Amen. They actually end a prayer with Amen.
Really?
And yes, I found that to be extremely fascinating, enlightening, in a sense that the divinity is spread through that as well. You know, the full focus of prayer, typically prayer, in a sense, particularly in a group or a Catholic setting, prayer is around, you know, maybe healing somebody, or wanting kindness to be expressed in others, or different things of that nature, not far different from any other type of spiritual or compassionate sense. So to end it with something as powerful as the universal sound of Om was very, very enlightening. So that, I guess that's a fun fact. A lot of different tangents we went on the crown chakra here.
The Sanskrit name for the crown chakra is, and I can never say this one. It's like Sahaswara. Sahaswara. And I'm probably totally butchering it, but it's 1,000-petaled lotus. So that's a nice little meditation visual. Like if you can envision like your pineal gland is like this flower bud, and then just watch it bloom into this 1,000-petaled flower at the crown of your head, you know?
Which also represents the infinity. We are infinitely divine beings. Life itself is infinitely divine. There's to go back into the separation of things, which if the crown chakra is blocked, we feel a heavy sense of separation and isolation. And we like as human beings, we tend to put such a high emphasis on ourselves as being so much above everything else. All the while, the funny, very paradoxical thing is, all of the while, interior, we might be feeling very isolated or very small or very, alone in such a large world. And we have a heavy, heavy sense on this I. But to come into contact with an opening crown chakra kind of diminishes all of that because there's no separation. The life force that flows through it allows the very breath to even be is the same life force that's flowing through a raccoon you come across in nature. It's the breath is no different. Um, it is simply the life force. So to come into contact with that in an experiential sense kind of dissolves that feeling of separateness. An opening crown chakra will allow the platform for that experience to then come onto, or open the door for it to come through. Well, I forgot to put that on vibrate. But separation is it's part of the suffering of life, to feel so isolated and so little, but to actually be so connected, to be all that is. We oftentimes look at ourselves or see this as a body as having consciousness, like we are a physical body, this having a consciousness. Very rarely do we see consciousness as having a body. This body is actually happening within the consciousness of everything. Just what the crown chakra represents, all and everything of the divine. So when the experience can flip into consciousness as having a body, you start to realize that everything is actually happening within the stream of consciousness. That you're not an isolated body having a conscious experience of being a human. That consciousness actually predates any of that. All of it's happening through that. That which is you. It is you, and you are it. There's no segregation, separation, or isolation in between, except for the fact that we feel and see ourselves that way in a very, very intellectual sense. We've done a lot of things culturally to isolate ourselves, divide ourselves. Different, borders, races, religions, everything. And to awaken the crown chakra is to awaken that sense of togetherness within all of us. To rise above a culturalistic standpoint or a racial standpoint, and to actually come into contact with the consciousness that is in all. And all isn't just all humans. It's in everything. I mean, when you break it down, what creates the existence of all of this to begin with? Why is a tree even a tree or called a tree? Is it because we consciously agreed to consider that it's that?
Right.
So What we're touching on is going back to that base. What's beyond that? Simply the aware that it is. No labeling. No, no sense of having to box anything in. Just simply experiencing it as it is. I mean, the moment that something's experienced and we start to try to put it in words, we're already taking away from what it actually is
Right.
instantly.
Yeah, that's a good fun practice to do is like don't categorize anything. You know, like take a walk out in nature and don't label anything, don't categorize anything, don't judge anything.
And that practice in itself is a good practice for that it will start to allow the dormant energies in a crown chakra to run, to start to spin once again.
Yeah, it opens those gateways because, and we become aware of how much we do it in our minds. We're constantly, oh, red box, pink flower, brown tree, like we're constantly like labeling and organizing everything because our brain has been conditioned to do so. It's been programmed to do that. But if you can stop trying to do that, and then another good one is stop labeling things good or bad. That's a big one, right? So the situation going on, it's not good, it's not bad, it just is. And the more you can do that in all your situations that you find yourself in and not labeling it, or people, you like this person, you don't like this person, they're a good person, a bad person, stop doing that. Like it just is. I love that there's a saying about when you go into a forest, all the trees are bent and they're unique and they just, but and we're okay with that. We don't judge it. We're just, oh, that's beautiful or oh, that's unique. But then when humans are different, we're like, no, they got to get back in our box. That's what's comfortable for us.
Heaven forbid you be too tall now. You can't do that. That's not good. It's when you look at it, when you actually step back and look at it, you can start to see how silly all of it is. And that we've gotten washed up in that as a whole is silly. It's very, just you kind of have to giggle at it. But that doesn't make it any less real or serious, like for example, like the right and the wrong. We every single day of our lives, most of us will label things as right and wrong in everything that we do. And we as in the human nature have a moral compass. Animals share a moral compass. You don't really see just like a mom lion going and eating one of its cubs, because somewhere in that lion, it instinctually, morally, it knows better. It knows not to. So a moral compass is very much a part of being of a human nature. It's being able to witness that moral compass, because if the moral compass exists and it's deciding what's right and what's wrong, we have to step back and then ask ourselves, well, who's acknowledging the moral compass? Because then that instantly can get you out of the compass. It will allow you then to, instead of acting out of a moral compass of everything having to be right or wrong, it naturally brings in the question of, well, what's the moral compass to begin with? Then we can start to understand what a moral compass actually is. So an important question to always ask yourself whenever you can notice being caught in anything really, negative self-talk, even a happy blissful situation, that's a funny thing that we do as humans too. Nobody wants the bad experiences, but nobody ever questions the good ones. If we want to go into labeling things as bad and good, we oftentimes, if we're in a relationship and our partner comes to us and says, I don't want to be with you anymore, and it's out of the blue, it breaks your heart. You feel like your heart's breaking, right? So that would be labeled as a bad experience. And what made it bad? Well, it was bad because it hurt. At some form, on some level, it hurt, and we don't like hurt. So we try to run away from it instead of ever actually looking into the nature of hurt. We just completely ignore it. But when you start to fall in love with the person who just broke your heart and you go back into that stage, do you ever actually question it? Do you ever try to run from it, or do you run to it? And it's, we're labeling, oh wow, this is such a great experience. I want more of it.
Yeah.
But nobody wants more of the the heartbreaking. So when we want more of this, and we don't question it. So even in a moment of bliss, the question has to be asked, well, who is experiencing this bliss? Where's this experience happening? That's how the depth starts to grow of being able to look at anything honestly to begin with, to start to break the labels,
Well, we can be disillusioned because, like, even in that situation where, oh, this person is breaking your heart and you're labeling it as bad, fast forward 6 months later, you find out that they were doing you wrong or whatever, and that them leaving you was actually a gift or a blessing. It was a good thing. Now we're labeling it something different, right? But like how even in what we think is reality in one moment can change in another reality. And so to even label something, we're like defining it when it's not yet to be defined. Like something should just not be defined because you're putting it in a box when this is actually a beautiful catalytic divinity moment that's pushing you on a new trajectory towards your real purpose and your true counterpart or whatever,
Mm-hmm. Yes, that plays in why the witnessing is such a beautiful experience. The like meditative practices to help develop the witnesser.
Yeah, where you can just observe. Don't be the judger. Don't be the victim.
Acknowledge that within you, because again, as we've discussed, all of this is happening within the field of consciousness. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I say it doesn't make a situation any less real, means that's not to say that your moral compass doesn't exist. Allow it to be, witness it. Just don't get so caught in the river of it.
Yeah.
All of it is you, and you are it. So simply allow it to be and witness it as it's happening. That's the true gaining of a deep sense of understanding. And then, you will start to feel less alienated because it will start to wake you up into, okay, others also have this within them. When you come into contact with you on a much deeper level, you start to see that depth in others, in everything. Thich Nhat Hanh, wonderful human, brilliant philosopher, and all around Zen practitioner, Zen Buddhist, just very, very wonderful being. Was actually Martin Luther King Jr.'s spiritual advisor. And he done a lot of interesting things. But something that he has said in his practice is meditate. Meditate until you can see yourself. Sit on it until you can truly see yourself. And then when you see yourself, meditate some more until you see that self in everything or in all others. And then once you see that self in all others, continue meditating until you see yourself in all that is. Once you see yourself in all that is, you're home. You're always home.
Yeah, I like that. Well, and going back to separation is an illusion. I was just talking about this because I'm writing a book, and I was just talking about this with someone yesterday. How it's always in the moments where we just feel absolutely alone. Well, for me, anyways, I shouldn't say we. For me, it has always been in those moments where I feel absolutely alone that the universe comes and shows me that I've never been alone. I'm never alone, you know? Like, not to take it back to that, but I just think about that separation because I feel for people that are out there because I know I've been there. It's rough sometimes, right? Where you just feel completely alone, like no one gets it, you know. And I worry about people that are out there that are feeling that. And I just want to like reach out to them, you know, whether it's through these videos or when I do Facebook Lives, I want to reach out to them and I want to like tell them, like, I know you're feeling this way, but it's an illusion. Like, you know, you're not alone and it's all going to be okay. And there's so many beautiful sunsets that you haven't even seen yet. And there's so many sunrises you haven't seen yet. And you haven't been around the friends that are going to love you and adore you. You know, like, just to kind of like, because I know how caught up in it you can get, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's just part of my mission is like reach those people and just give them that little spark of hope so that they keep going towards their destiny. I don't know, probably a tangent, huh?
Well, we've been on many.
Yeah.
This has been a very fun
Yeah, I think that was
conversation.
perfect though, you pulling the crown chakra.
Through divine will.
Yeah. You know, with your background with meditation and gurus and stuff. That's out of all the chakras,
Right.
that seems to be.
A little thrown to come up and start at the top versus the bottom. That's a bit different. But I think very needed in a sense.
Yeah. So some of the things that I've heard, maybe this can be something we can talk about. As you know, there's crazy stuff going on in the world, going on out there in the world today. It's very turbulent and chaotic and noisy, right?
Mhm.
And those of us that have learned to kind of pull back away from the theatrics, we're pretty good. But the people who are really absorbed in it and watching it, they're probably just a nervous wreck, stressed out, high levels of cortisol, you know, streaming through their body and things like that. Gosh, now I forgot where I was going with this. Oh, that's okay. So one of the things, because I follow and listen to is I'm always trying to get my hands on, you know, the greats that I love are like Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton, Greg Braden. I watched Leo King. I like Pam Greger. She's an astrologist out of the UK. I like astrology ones. You know, I try to follow, you know, what's going on with those, you know, where are they at? Because I'm just, yeah. Anyway, these are my sources. So one of the things I've been hearing is because of all of this turbulence that's going on, people are going to start turning towards the church or turning towards, you know, but we've also seen a lot of people have been wounded from the church. So we have a lot of like, you know, even saying the word God can trigger a lot of people these days, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, and maybe most of those people are going to more of these spirituality type things. But as people are going, I don't know, I kind of wanted to get like your take on if people are starting to go towards the church again, is that gonna, I mean, it can't throw us back because we're on the bridge or the brink of a big jump in human consciousness. So I don't know. What is your take on what's going on right now? And what do you think with the reason I'm tying this together is because of the crown chakra and spirituality and, you know, things.
I was I was asked not too long ago to go to church with my parents. They wanted myself and siblings to go. That was the only thing that they had asked for us. Um, and I had no issues with
Was it
that
for
at all.
Easter?
It wasn't for Easter.
Oh, okay.
I feel like it may have been, maybe it was longer than I had thought, but it might have been for Father's Day last year. My dad, that's what my
Okay.
dad wanted. Um, but either way, we went. And while we were sitting there, my sister, who is very Christian, strong Christian soul, um, she asked me. She said, "Do you believe in God or Jesus or anything like that?" And in truth, I I don't believe in God only because I experience God every single day. And the hug from a child or the touch of another, to see the smile on someone you love dearly's face, and the hurt that is gonna end up translating into a brilliant lesson, into the suffering that teaches us all.
Mm.
It's God is felt in every sense of being. We have lost the art of being. We are human beings,
Not human doings.
right? So the divine is in all, and in that beingness is all. My uncle has been talking about prayer and meditation. Um, he's doing both. And, meditate or well, praying is asking for asking for something from
Yeah,
God
asking or talking.
to speak with God.
Yeah.
Meditation is yes, what is it being, just being with God.
Yeah, dwelling in that all that is intelligent energy.
Even so, when you look at the Christian Bible, in the Bible, it very clearly states that God is in and of all things.
Mm.
That and if God is in and of all things, what gives the notion that He is something outside of you or something separate of yourself? If He is in and of all things, is He not in and of you?
Mhm.
Oh,
But yeah, a lot of these religious institutions will make you think that you have to do 20 Hail Marys and you have to ask for, permission and you have to, do all these things to be worthy, right? When,
simple sitting and beingness, when practiced long enough, dissolves all of that because you will experience God. There's
well, and you are God in a sense. I just, there's that video I put in the group that they have scientifically proven in the first layer of DNA that it's code, there's a code there. And so they brought in linguistics specialists or whatever. And it comes down to three root human languages, and it's biblical Hebrew, Sanskrit, and Arabic. And it says the code within your body, in all of our bodies, God within, God eternal within the body. So it's like a canvas, right? You're a canvas, and God has put his signature on the little corner of you, like
Yes.
we not only are the creations, but we hold it within us. Like they say, the wave is a part of the ocean. It's all intrinsically connected. We're always reminded how everything is connected. So we are humans, or we are angels, or God. We are angelic humans. We have God within matter. If that makes any sense.
Very much so.
So you don't have to go far away. You don't have to do 20 Hail Marys. You don't have to put your body in water. You already are there. You're already in. It's your birthright.
There,
It's your birthright.
God is not something to be sought outside of yourself. It's God's to be found within. And when Moses went to the top of the mountain and the 10 Commandments came to Moses.
Mm-hmm. Like a download.
Where did it happen at? Where did it happened through him, not anywhere else. So God happens through you,
right,
in you, of
He's
you.
probably sitting up there on the top of the mountain meditating, and then came down, shared the information. And that's what I was just talking about in another video that I did today. We were talking about, because our subject was, we are gods and goddesses. Do you speak to me like you speak to God? And we were talking about how, when did it stop? When did we stop being prophetic? When did we stop? When did divinity stop? Just because it's not 2,000 years ago doesn't mean that stuff stopped. They took it seriously back then. Now they mock it. I don't know. It's a crazy world we live in.
It is.
But it's fun, right? Opportunities to see contrast and duality. I'm a big believer we can create heaven or we can create hell on earth. Those of us that are trying to create heaven versus those of us that are going around creating hell. And I think we need more and more people that are working on creating heaven. And more of those people working together to create a heaven.
You can be of a heaven to yourself, or you can be of a hell to yourself, and the choice is truly yours.
Yeah.
It's an exterior world reflected from the internal self. So
that's how we create our reality.
When you are still and centered, at peace within yourself, you will oftentimes see that as the overall function of the planet. If you see yourself, and it takes an understanding or knowing the self. Again, to get biblical, that is words spoken from Jesus. Know thyself.
Right.
Know thyself.
It's the biggest thing you could ever do is self-discovery.
And in that self-discovery, there is nothing that isn't the self. There's nothing that isn't the self, because we think that because we think of ourselves as only being this body and trapped inside this body. Not this body is being just another thing within what we are, within us, the eternal self.
I think too, there's something to be said for like getting to a point where you're so calm and centered within yourself that doesn't matter what the world is churning and how turbulent the winds are around you. The world can be very noisy and chaos, which it is today.
Yes.
But can you stay in that calm, be the calm within the storm, the eye of the tornado?
Offering just one light into another.
Yeah, and not be pulled into it either, right?
To teach somebody to come into themselves, who in turn can only be taught through themselves. It's just kind of opening the doorway for them to step through and realize that it's all done internally. Um, is all the change that needs to happen or that can happen. It to pardon me, to give the gift of the self is actually not a gift that can be given because it's already you. It's already there. So it's not given, it's actually just simply coming into it. And see, like these pauses. The self is discovered in the silence. Silence don't necessarily mean quiet. That there is no audible sound, that you can't hear anything. It's simply a stillness or a silence within that everything else branches out of. Like the Big Bang that started the universe. It was stillness, nothing, boom, everything. All happening at once. Not, it was all of a sudden.
Right. It's painted very beautifully in the Bible, right? Like on this day we did this, on that day we did that. It's, it makes it good for a good story.
So, I guess if you want to change the world, the first change that has to happen, and the only change that can happen, is to discover the self, to understand the eternal self, to change the world within, and let that world ripple outwards, so that maybe that ripple touches another into that self-exploration and understanding of the self. With the self being at the center, there's no need to change anything else. The needs lost. Obviously, we have lots of murder and chaoticness and people killing each other over beliefs, over a belief, manufactured in the mind, not even in a direct experience, just something that's imagined. Right. And at the end of the day, all of that is simply a lack of knowledge of the self. Yeah. We're lost. We get lost in what we believe to be us so much that we will kill another for it. When the joke of it all is that other's actually you. It's nothing separate from you. And when you can realize that, you won't want to hurt somebody else.
Right. I crack up all the time too, because you have these people who are so opinionated and willing to fight and die or whatever for their beliefs. But at the end of the day, I go, they don't even know themselves. They don't even know who they are. But yet they put all this time and energy into fighting for their soapboxes.
Now, somebody who is very centered, one that knows themselves, aren't rendered incapable of self-defense. You still defend yourself. Still do all of that. But
it's better to be
the unconsciousness of hurting somebody is gone.
Yeah.
There's no intention to hurt anybody. Now, naturally, hurt can happen. hurt can happen. Kids, for example, if you're raising children, you gotta try to steer in the right direction. The discipline happens sometimes. There's, you know, hurt can be there. Wait, you try to tell a toddler no, you are hurting them, but the intent isn't to hurt. What's the intent?
Is to love, actually.
So, like, you want to tell the toddler who's already ate 4 pieces of chocolate, like, no, absolutely not, because that 5th piece of chocolate is, there's a thing called diabetes. Toddler don't understand that.
Right.
But so the toddler's gonna think that you are hurting them.
Yeah, I use the analogy of like you wouldn't want your child or your toddler to touch a hot stove. And so some people get really angry with me when I try to be like a truth panda, like this is the truth. And people take it as, like perpetrator energy, me telling them blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, it's really coming from my heart, my divine mother energy, and saying I don't want you to burn your hand on that stove. And then it goes back to the lesson of, well, everybody's got their own karma and they got to learn their own lessons. Well, maybe this is part of their lesson, is that Divine Mother was here to warn you. And you wanted to take the hard road, I guess. But I don't know. It's also interesting. And I love to like try to understand it all and seek it out and know all the secrets of the universe.
Life's a mystery. And to let it be a mystery.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta like be in some childlike wonder, just, let it be amazing and mysterious. Because if you knew everything, then it wouldn't be as magical, right?
It's to experience it now for what it is right now, with the known that everything is always changing. Everything is always evolving. So what's known right now in this moment is going to grow. And if you're witnessing that, see, we get stuck. We get stuck in our beliefs, and those beliefs don't change even when everything around it's changing.
It's rigid.
So to go unresistingly forward, locked into now, at each moment as it comes, with a complete unlabeling, unboxing, unjudgmental notion of just openness, stepping forward, is understanding all or learning all as it comes right now within direct experience. So the mystery is still there. Go ahead.
Well, I want to ask you, what are your thoughts about channeling? Like, they say there's a causal plane where we can all tap into, the causal plane. This is the energy where all the thoughts kind of are. And so like, that's why, sometimes 3 people will get the same idea and they'll be doing it and they'll be like, well, you stole my idea. And I'm like, no, you stole my idea. But when really they were just tapped into this causal plane of consciousness where all of the thoughts and things are, right? What is your thought of channeling? Because we're thinking crown chakra, we're thinking of tapping into these more higher realms. Do you believe you can channel spirits, ancestors, ascended masters, those kinds of things? Can you tap into their, energy never dies, so their energy must be out there, right?
First, let's go into the 3 people having a similar idea or the same idea. And then, no, I had that idea. See, what's arising there? What's actually creating the issue of the blocks channeling per se to begin with is that individual self, that sense of isolation, that sense of, oh, I'm me, and I had it first, it's mine. You couldn't have had it first because it's mine. So you're stealing it from me. And that is simply a loss of connection with the whole. To channel is to simply be in touch with the stream of, of life. In order to channel, one must be open to anything. And it's natural that if two people channel and understand themselves on a level beyond the individual I, no words will ever need to be exchanged between the two because they'll both know. They will understand. And if it does get exchanged, it's honored as a synchronicity, which happens to be a symptom of enlightenment. There's two common known symptoms of enlightenment that's passed throughout the ages. And that's the first is simply the loss of anxiousness, the loss of of an anxious fear. And the second is noticing more and more synchronicities.
Yeah, I feel like you have to like get out of the way when you channel. You have to be able to set your personality aside, which you can do through the practice of meditation. When you practice being the observer, you practice stepping out of the I, the personality, the human, the dramas, and you step back. And then as you're just observing, then I feel like it can flow through you a lot easier. And I've even noticed more creativity when I do this, more ideas, more insights, more flow, more peace, more patience. Yeah,
Yes,
I think that's super important. Is be able to remove the I, remove the personality, step back, get out of the way, get out of your own way, I guess.
Oftentimes in classes, it's like I'll teach. This isn't. I'm not giving you anything. I'm not adding to you. What we're doing here is we're taking things away.
I like that.
So to ultimately take away the individual I takes away all the thoughts blocking you from the hive, or the flow of consciousness. Because we have so many thoughts on a daily basis, and what are all of them actually typically centered around? They're centered around I, me. It's like when you think about when you start to look into what you're thinking about, because now we're talking about something a level that's a little bit deeper than thought. Okay, so let's say on the first plane, you're simply acting out of your thoughts. So the thoughts are coming, and you're just acting out of them. And then one day, all of a sudden, it's whoa. Why have I been thinking about this? So now you've added a layer. Now there's a little bit of separation there because now there's a you that has been thinking.
And a you that can observe the thought or the actual process of the thinking.
Yep, which would be the next tier. See, so once that happens, then it's natural to be, whoa, who was the one that just realized that there's one thinking?
Now you're observing the observer.
So as that deepens, at the base of every thought is I. It's the first thought has to be I for any of those other thoughts to even start to creep in. So if there's no I, then there's only consciousness. There's only the stream. There's only you. You at the base of bases. There's silence.
The all-encompassing, all-divine you.
Yes.
That's the part.
And
when you can live from that. That's good stuff. That's why I kind of like, I went through like a death, you know, changing my legal name and everything, like letting go of that personality and stepping into, you know, my soul, my higher self, my mission. Um, like I let go of all of those, you know, I don't know, desires, and it really helped me. But I think people become so attached to their identity, their story, what they've been through, you know, instead of, you know, walking away as a completely healed person and moving on to something new, people will cling to, I'm a cancer survivor, you know, they wear labels and identities from what they've been through. And what it does is it keeps them attached to that time lapse loop of the past. When you can really let yourself completely die and leave everything in the past, your whole world, your whole universe then opens up, and you have all these timeline possibilities in front of you. Now, darling, what would you like?
Many go around wanting to be enlightened. They're wanting to find internal peace. But not wanting to give up that sense of I, of individualized self.
And the comforts
And
of that. Yeah.
because it's waking up and dying to that I every day.
Mm-hmm.
Till that I doesn't exist.
Right, because then we can create new ones.
Yes,
And then it create attachments and comforts and securities to the new ones. So I like how you said it, dying every day.
So, like Jim Carrey said, it's like having a reset button and putting your finger on it and riding it all the time, every moment.
Yeah.
It's so when we look at those attachments of identification, again, what will start to happen? Your mind will then loop thoughts based solely around that point of experience. It won't. How is new things or downloads supposed to come in
If you're full of all this other stuff.
and haven't emptied yet?
Right.
And the base of that is the attachment of that your I is attached to that soul experience right there, and it has shaped everything in the I from there. Mm-hmm. Again, the base of that being the I. The thought of I.
Right, because so many humans, okay, you've got indoctrination, education, religious beliefs, personal beliefs, parental programming, you know, everything. And so they're full of all of this stuff. And then you try to give them, like, hey, here's this really new information. And they're like, oh, you know, they're so full of all this stuff. There's no room for them to even open up to that new concept. I've experienced that. But I still try to plant seeds. It doesn't stop me from trying to plant seeds. I did the study of the Mahavidyas where you study different Hindu goddesses. And I did this one where you, the Lolita is the Hindu goddess of the cosmos. She's said to, you know, envelop the cosmos or be the mother of the cosmos. And then I'm probably going to totally murder this, Bhuvaneshwara. She is the mother of the universe. So when I embody her, when I sit in meditation and I think about embodying her, I think about how the whole universe is inside of me. And that is powerful. I love that one. It's very cool. It's like all this space and time and, you know, all the cosmos, all of the things, all the planets, you know, is inside of me. I think a lot of people could benefit from sitting in that meditation. And you can feel the things move. You can feel the movement and the stillness inside of you and all of it, all encompassing. And then you open it's a really cool experience.
It's in a way, it's an experience of the self, um, because like so all of the planets, everything that is actually happening within you. But we touched on it a little earlier in this conversation. So when like what have you ever stepped foot on another planet?
Well, I mean, not in this lifetime.
So have you personally
Oh, physically, like in this lifetime, no, but astrally or etherically, however you want to see it, I have.
so
Like if you believe in remote viewing or
so what allows that planet to then exist? Is it
I mean, one could say I could even dream it up.
so a level of awareness?
Yeah. Well, I believe we dream up things into being all the time. Just like if we worry about something, pretty soon we're in that situation we're worried about because we manifested it, we created it because we're creators. So we can create things just by thought, emotion, and visualization alone, separately but all together. Very powerful. But I don't think I dreamt this planet up because I feel like I've been there many times.
So again, that planet exists. It exists within your realm of what? See, so
My realm of consciousness.
which is only limited to you as Leica, or is it spread throughout? And if it's spread throughout, what separates the stranger that may be walking around the street from you?
Mm. That's what I like though when you run into like 3 different people within the day and they're all kind of talking about the same things or they're all on the same page and you're just like, oh, this is creepy. It's weird. Good in a good way though. You know?
Yes.
It's also connected.
At the
But I think like that meditation of the Bhu Vanesh Ra Ra, the universe, I feel like that is dwelling in God energy when you're doing that. You know?
very much so, it
It
invites
raises
you to step into the infinite space of all that is.
yeah, infinite space of space. And I think when you do that, then it not only elevates your energy, elevates your mind, your consciousness, then it makes all these like petty things that people are arguing about just seem theatrical and petty.
As the play of life.
Yeah, it brings a lot of peace. Okay, so we went over an hour.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know we had so much to talk. Well, crown chakra. I mean, spirituality. I mean, divinity.
We went into a lot of different
Pockets. A lot of different rabbit holes.
Yes, that was rather fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today. Thank you for being you.
Same.
I want to thank you guys all so much for tuning in and hope you enjoyed this. And if you ever have any other questions, thoughts, concerns, feel free to leave them in the comments or reach out to us. You can visit us at www.theawakeningrealm.com. And hope you are having a lovely day. Love you guys all so much.